Now, rescuers in Turkey pulled more people from the rubble today, 5 days after the country's most devastating earthquake since 1939. However, hope is fading in both Turkey and Syria that many more survivors will be found. Chriselda, of course, has been there on the ground with rescue workers from Gift of the Givers. She joins us now live from Turkey. Chriselda, what is the latest where you are?
Well, Francis, these are live pictures from Antakya, which is just east of Turkey, and this is where the earthquake has had a devastating effect on the people of this particular city. Right behind me, as night falls, rescue workers continue to comb through the debris of one of the buildings, which is about 9 floors, hoping to find the families or victims alive. Essentially, at this stage, rescue workers continue to work around the clock. I'm going to step out of shot so my colleague can show you from this vantage point. From where we're standing, you'll see these rescue workers are continuing with the search. All of these high-rise buildings have been affected, and one of the residents of this area that I spoke to indicated that he is waiting for his loved ones for about 4 days now, hoping that they will be brought from the surface alive. And that is the general sense that we're getting here in Antakya and several other parts of this particular part of the country. As night comes, you will see there's also some residents who have lit some of the braziers here in order to stay warm. They're not prepared, despite having arrived here very early this morning. They'll only go to bed for about 1 hour. Some tell us that they haven't even had any sleep. They've lit some fires here and are hoping that at some time tonight, they're a bit concerned. While you may speak to some of them that have indicated that they're not going to lose hope. They're hoping that their loved ones are going to be found alive. There are some that are saying that as the hours pass, they become concerned. Hope is dwindling on their part. They're concerned that as time goes by, as the clock ticks, their loved ones will not be found alive. But I think the general consensus here is that these people want their loved ones found so that they're able to give them a dignified burial. From the parts that we've also come from, there's a stretch of road towards my right to where my colleague Mangobankosi will show you. There is right towards the front there, police vehicles that you will see the blue lights there. And not too far from where that is where there is one of the hospitals that has also collapsed there, an academic hospital. And not too far from where we are, in just a radius of about 15 kilometers, you find that there's about 10 hospitals that have also been affected in that particular area. Now, what is taking place is that they are removing, if the rescue workers are able to find some of the people who've been affected alive or manage to bring them alive, underneath all that rubble, they are taken to hospitals that are not too far from here. And of course, those who have not managed to make it, who've passed on in this tragedy, their families say, despite that, they would want to ensure that their loved ones are given a dignified send-off. Right here behind me again, just but one of almost every part of where we're standing in the city looks exactly what is behind me. The story is almost the same. You move from one area to the other, that's exactly what it looks like. While there's a deep appreciation, I must say, Francis, from the people of this country, with the 8 organizations that have come into this part, emergency services from around the world, medical supplies, medical personnel, they still believe that much more can be done. Not too far from where I am, there are also people who have put mattresses on the floor, and you can only but imagine how difficult that is. Ever since we arrived in this country, we've also been battling somewhat, Francis, the degrees or the temperature is in the minus mark, so it's been exceptionally cold. That is what hampered the rescue efforts so much too in the beginning. But right now, I think, rescue workers continue to work around the clock. The gift of the givers worked late into last night. There are still some people that are being retrieved from underground. It's an absolute miracle when that does take place. But unfortunately, for some families, they've received very sad news about the fate of their loved ones. It's going to take a very long time for this country to rebuild what we've seen here. And in fact, from those buildings that have completely collapsed, that is done. Some of them are still active scenes, but with some of the buildings that have not collapsed and fallen completely to the ground, the decision basically that has been taken of what we've seen is that the huge cranes or TRBs have been brought in, and they're collapsing those structures completely so that people are not able to go inside those structures and retrieve what is left of their belongings. Do you blame them if they want to go in? As dangerous as it is, they've lost everything.
Sure, what a scary situation. Chriselda Lewis, thank you for covering that for us. Unfortunately, because of the infrastructural damage, telecoms are really difficult. It's difficult to get a connection and actually ask her questions, but she will continue to monitor those search and rescue operations. Of course, hopes fading of bringing up more people alive, but no doubt that death toll already soaring will climb. An incredible situation, and you've got to hand it to the people who are just continuing to sift through that rubble for days now.